this thing on? Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for you.
Right.
This is how it go down before the show, huh?
No cursing.
Just say that for the podcast.
Yes, sports world.
What's good? What's good? What's good? People are a little quiet right now. We normally come in with some music. You know, something going on.
It's somber.
Yeah, it's
somber. We did the fist bump. We ain't really even like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sanitize after that.
Sanitize after that. It's true. It is true. So let's get right to it.
The world is in a pandemic right now. It's crazy. Like sports this week, I don't know what to do.
Well, before this week.
Let's
think about the blows that sports has taken this year.
Yeah.
First, Kobe.
True.
And that's not just the sports world, that's the entire world. So the entire world took a shock. Now Kobe.
Don't get it twisted.
From Kobe to Kobe. A lot of trauma. Major League Baseball spring training canceled.
Done.
Season pushed back 2 weeks. What? How do you start a season without spring training? Kobe. Major League Lacrosse. National Hockey League. NASCAR. The Masters. And then from March Madness to March Sadness.
That's right. These are all elements about the truth about Roni, baby.
The truth about Roni.
The truth about Roni.
Let's try to recap the series of events, Coach.
Series of events, in the sports world, like you said, it really started out in soccer when, the coach was diagnosed, and then like the next day, Utah Jazz forward Rudy Gobert was diagnosed with that. And, they kind of let the cat out of the bag because when they interviewed Mark Cuban, it was like, well, a couple of players. And I'm like, a couple of players? They just said Rudy Gobert. They come to find out the very next day, Utah Jazz superstar guard Donovan Mitchell contracts it from Rudy Gobert because, him being careless and playing around and in the locker room and joking around and, it became a serious matter.
Even a sense of immunity, like we can't be touched almost. Right. We're NBA players.
Oh, no. You doing all that traveling, and, we need to pinpoint that because, they did play in New York. They did play on the road in Detroit, which Christian Wood, another Detroit, player, was diagnosed. Just came out. Yeah, he contracted.
So I haven't seen them really backtracking the steps. Like, who did he catch it from?
Well, you got to look at those three areas. They were in Boston, New York, and Detroit. They were on the road there.
And
they played Toronto at home.
That's right.
They played them at home, so you got to pretty much quarantine all of those teams. And I'm quite sure the NBA has done that already.
But we just haven't heard it, which is interesting.
But right? You figured guys like the Detroit Pistons, forward basically contracting it. So that's let me know that they are, pinpointing the last 5 to 6 teams.
This is real. The Raptors were quarantined, right? They were all have a clean bill of health, but they were quarantined. I saw a video of Saka, right? Serge Ibaka, I should say. Sorry. He built his own gym in his living room, right? So, you brought up Mitchell, and Mitchell put out a statement that was kind of like, took a shot at your boy Rudy.
Hey, go ahead and chime in.
So here it is. Thanks to everyone who has been reaching out since hearing the news about my positive test. We are all learning more about the seriousness of the situation, and hopefully people can continue to educate themselves and realize that they need to behave responsibly, both for their own health and for the well-being of those around them.
Right. They said he was just playing around, touching everybody in the locker room. It's like you got it, but you're not knowing that you got it. You playing around with it. You just touching everybody, just being extra, super duper friendly, and you playing too much when it's real serious.
What do you think about LeBron having to kind of eat his own words? Because you remember he made the statement, "I would not play." Because in an arena without fans.
Yeah, he didn't understand the magnitude of it at that time. Nobody was really taking this thing serious. They think it's okay. This is more like something, the Ebola virus or swine flu or something of that nature, but not knowing the severity of it until, it affect one of his his fellow players.
Yeah, it got real.
You know, it really got serious when the NBA just pretty much canceled the season. I mean, you can't have LeBron retract the statements, you know, but...
What can you do? But now that word you use, canceled, a lot of the leagues have been using different words to describe what's going on.
Postpone, reschedule.
I've heard postpone. But so we got to be careful, right? Because they do plan on playing some NBA.
I think everything is just pretty much postponed right now until they really pinpoint how this virus is really working. They really can't pinpoint anything.
Right. So everything seems to just kind of be on pause because the NHL used the word pause.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the NHL's done. I think NHL's done. They giving them their last game checks or something like that.
There are a couple checks going on.
Yeah. As far as the playoffs, I wouldn't know. I know.
I mean, Sabres ain't in it, so I mean, to me, I'm okay with that.
Right. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. We do got our guy calling in from the cold front. Jeremy Montgomery will be chiming in a little bit.
So tell them about cold front. What is cold front?
Cold front, man. You know cold front. That's just how it is in Buffalo, man.
People might think it's the cab company. And,
it's just the cold front with the Bills, man.
Cold Springs. They may be confusing it.
At that defensive front, at one point in time, when we had Marcel, Kyle,
back in the day.
Jerry, and Mario, they was labeled as the cold front.
Like the Iron Curtain.
Right. It's like the steel curtain, the iron curtain. We were the cold front. But nevertheless, to give you the cold hard facts on the day-to-day, my guy Jeremy Montgomery with the cold front, Buffalo Bills, hot off the presses. He's going to be joining us.
Lots of Bills stuff to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty amped about it. Actually, I got something that I think you're going to appreciate too when we start getting into the Bills. But not only do we have our cold front connect, but we also have the athletic director of UB.
Oh man, we need him.
Mark Allnut will be on the phone after our first time out. So that's about 6:20.
I love
so we're going to hear from him, from a D1 AD.
Right.
About what it's like.
What's going on.
Because listen, the Bulls were in the conversation still. That MAC was still up.
The tournament was still up for grabs. And that's a lot of things that's happening. You got mid-major conference guys who's basically can't wait for this moment. And now it's gone. They're a senior. They don't get the chance to, to play in front of the Power 5 conferences, the NBA scouts, to, try to boost their stock. So,
but their dreams.
Yeah.
Listen, I almost shed a tear when I saw a senior from Penn State talking about how this has impacted him. He was 7 points away from being the lead scorer in school history.
Wow, that's tough. And now, a truth about Roney.
Truth about Roney.
A truth about Roney. So. Okay, so we got our guy calling in.
Cold front.
Yeah, I knew I felt.
And then we have another guest.
Yeah, we have
that you just secured right at the end.
We got my guy Ed Davis all the way from Atlanta. He's the agent, so you get the chance to hear what's happening, with him and how it's affecting them, from an agent, from a representation standpoint. He did have 2 studs, by the way, that was entering in the HBCU combine.
I don't know if we can drop that Bills talk though. I don't know if we can bring that up.
No, we put that on the back burner. Yeah. But hey, we got my guy from the cold front is online with us, Mr. Montgomery, JTM. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on?
Outstanding.
We doing good, man. We just sitting up here chiming, talking a little bit about the truth about Roney a little bit, and how it's affecting in the sports world. It's kind of tough, man. I don't know how to feel at this point. It's kind of tough watching TV because there's nothing on TV to watch. It's like, NFL Network is playing old football games.
I was coming downstairs. I saw Michigan play Duke. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you had to watch it all over again. In case you missed it. Here we go. But, hey, give us a rundown, man. A great week for the Bills, I would say,
active,
as far as being proactive before free agency really hits. So, care to talk about that, big dog? Yeah, that was solid. That was solid, man. That was a real solid job. And at the deal they got him for, I mean, when the reports first came out, it was $6 million up to $8 million. But then when you really break down what he has to do, the incentives, man, I mean, that's a great deal by being it. That's a great deal to get a guy like Josh Norman for that type of contract. take that. And the most important part, he kept your franchise quarterback clean. All right, and here's a guy that's pretty much was durable, played every game last year. And if you go back to his history, his record proves that the last out of 66 games, was 64 he started in. You know what I mean? So I mean the durability is there, and once again, your quarterback was held outright.
Those are the only stats you really got. I mean, when you're looking at O-line, if you're not looking at the tape, I mean that's about it, right? How many sacks did you games?
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, this guy is a stud.
At $15 million a year, that's the same contract that John Miller got to leave Buffalo. Can you imagine that? So once again, Brandon Beane is stealing the right way. Now I've been stuck on this stealing word since Rex Ryan had the audacity to talk about us while he was leaving. Mm-hmm. So every time I saw the coach and Brandon Beane, he's been doing a phenomenal job on stealing the right way, stealing super duper bargain players at a cheap price, and they're paying dividends from Buffalo. Quite an example, you got guys like Shaq Lawson pretty much price himself out. Potentially, Jeremy, you could chime in with that in just a minute. I had the opportunity to talk with his agent down at the Combine, and things was promising, but I guess they couldn't come to agreement with the numbers. And then once, that article came out where, his potential is anywhere now between 10 to 12, then you have to reconsider, hey, this is what you wanted me to do. You want me to test the market. You didn't pick up my option last year, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to test the market and maximize my value. And if it's, not to my liking, hey, I can come back and sign that contract. And, hey, hopefully, he can come back because, like you said, he was a detrimental piece in Leslie Frazier's defense. They was moving him inside to play that 3-tech, where he was very aggressive at. He was making plays at. And then, it's a situational pass rusher, career high in sacks this year. So he was pretty much developing into what they needed him to do. It's just, we're a day late in the contract year short.
You mentioned something is special happening here in Buffalo, because not only are we getting these great, talented players willing to stay here and not test the market with Quentin, but we also have players rescheduling their contracts. Yeah. Right? So we got our, was it Croft?
Croft restructured and style of toilet paper. He
did that early. He did that early too. He before they start trading and start making them bait. He was like, "Listen, man, I'll take $10. It's okay. $10, man, and an Uber ride to the stadium." But we also did sign. We signed our tight end.
Yeah, we signed.
Jason
Croft Cakes.
Yeah.
Signed Jason Kroom.
But
we already know why. Kroom's always going to.
He's sticking around though. This guy.
Yeah, he's still. Yeah,
This guy's got some sticking power.
Yeah.
And this is for Mookie, because one thing that kind of rubbed Mookie the wrong way is that they keep talking about our black quarterbacks, saying why don't they consider other positions? And I was going to throw the question out. Maybe we could apply that same kind of question to tight ends. Maybe you could play a little O-line.
Yeah, you need to go play tackle.
We can start dropping that question on him. You know what I mean?
Go play tackle guy.
What do you think? You ever want to play a little guard?
Yeah,
some long snapper?
Your 10-yard split is phenomenal. Yeah, so, hey, man, so what do you think right now that, heading into this free agency, if you was the GM for a day, what would you be doing? Yeah, then we still got our Matt Milano situation. We still got our Deion Dawkins situation. We definitely have to address that. I mean, we're going to, you said, you're the GM right now, so we extend Poyer because his contract has definitely superseded his production by far. And I mean, when you put the stats together against Honey Badger, who's making $16 million a year, it's a joke to compare to his production and what he's being paid. But you can't fault the Bills for that contract. But Throw a dog a bone, why don't you? I shouldn't have to ask you to pay me when my number supersedes itself. But, they're just being real careful, and I do understand. This is the first time the Bills is really having an opportunity to play with some cash because we had so much dead money over the big contracts due to the Whaley era. So, they're finally getting an opportunity to play with some money. Now, next year, we're going to have 90 more or probably even more money to play with now. So, don't just go on a frenzy just yet. But, Jeremy, man, hey, I appreciate you calling in, big dog. Absolutely. Now, speaking of One Bill Drops, real quick before we go commercial break, Pagolas are paying all their staff members, man. What's your take on that one? Yeah, gotta pay him, man. And that's the truth about Roni. We got the cold frontings in the building. Muwata, take us away, big dog. I don't know about she's my only one. I don't know. Boy, the truth about Roni. That was great. The truth about Roni. The truth about Roni. That's right. We're going to come right back with the truth about Roni part 2. What's going on in our high school? We got the AD coming up. He's doing this thing in baseball, by the way. Shout out to him. But nevertheless, man, truth about Roni, man. This is. I never experienced how you just cancel a season due to a virus, and it's just viral all over the place, man. I mean, from top to bottom, from high schools all the way to the pros. This is really affecting everybody. I mean, we can't talk more about that, but. Right now, the NFL has just signed a CBA. It's finally done. It came to a vote. A retired Bill and Vice President of the NFL Players Association, Lorenzo Alexander, really chimed in and broke that stuff down. But here's a few of the things that the new CBA entails. Now, the preseason will be shortened when the 17-game regular season kicks in. Now, that won't happen this year. Okay, that's going to happen next year. The 2020 season will feature a 16 regular season game, and it has 4 preseason games. Ownership has the option of expanding the regular season to 17 games, beginning with the 2021 season. That change appears to be basically inevitable.
And everyone was saying that, right?
Yeah.
With the preseason games, it was just getting outrageous.
Right.
They're sitting all the stars anyways. Like, let's just get on to it.
Yeah, get on to it, right? Or somebody at risk injury, whatever the case may be, and he's out for the season in that last game. So, let's just cut the chase and get right to it. Once again, I did say the preseason will shorten to 17 once that kicks in. But most importantly, the players get more money. The players will receive 48% of the league's revenue beginning in 2021, which is up from 47% of last year. That share of increase, the 48.5%, will be added into the 17th game as well. Now, roster size and practice squad limits are about to increase. Now, teams can now have 55 active players on their roster and 14 players on their practice squad. Now, that's two added on from the active roster, and that's actually 4 for practice squad members. Okay, so that's your increase there. And most importantly, what the players really had an issue with was the drug testing policy. Okay, now the CBA do eliminate suspensions for positive drug tests instead of instituting fines up to 3 weeks of pay. Now, failure to cooperate with the testing and clinical care is only a violation that results in a suspension that comes after the 4th violation. In the new CBA, it also shortens the window for testing from 4 months to 2 weeks at the beginning of camp and increasing the threshold for a positive test of marijuana. So, in more layman terms, okay, they have a 2-week window to test these guys. They don't have a 4-month window as the beginning of, let's say, OTAs, all right? They would normally have up to the beginning of OTAs all the way up until basically training camp to test you. So guys are coming for, OTAs, and then they leave back out, and, they might have a good time out, and they might be around something they ain't supposed to be around. But, when they come back that next week, they're being tested. This is not the case now. They have a smaller window for them to be, pretty much tested. So they're giving these guys pretty much a long rope to pretty much hang themselves with this new drug testing policy. So you have up to like 7 or 8 times actually before they start taking games and game checks away from you. So I guess that's a big deal for those guys because we know the percentages on African Americans in the NFL, and we know that the herb heals and not the other way around. So I guess that's kind of a win-win from them. Now, salary increases, particularly for minimum contract players. Players with less than 1 year of NFL experience now have the minimum salary bumped up from from 510,000 to 610,000. So that's an increase. And the minimum salary would increase gradually by 1.1 million by 2030. Players with 1 year minimum experience will have $670,000 minimum, which increases to 1.2 million by 2030. So basically going to keep getting a rate adjustment each year up until 2030 in reference to minimum contract players. There are increases to suspend people from DUIs and PEDs. Now that's one thing they're not going to tolerate. They might tolerate the marijuana now because it's legal in certain states, but they're not going to tolerate performance enhancers, and they're not going to tolerate you behind the wheel drunk because you can seriously hurt another person. Okay, so in agreement with that, the first test positive for steroids carries a 6-game suspension. And that's moved up from 4 games. And DUIs now carry a 3-game suspension, and that's a 2-game increase from where it was recently at. And Roger Goodell will no longer handle suspensions and appeals as he had in the previous agreement. So, no more bad guy. You can't point the finger at Roger Goodell no more and say that's the bad guy.
I'm sure he slid that
I'm kind of sure I think he did too. He didn't want the responsibility of being.
But that's why you get the big bucks. Do you know how much this man gets paid?
He get paid $40 million a year.
This man gets $40 million.
$40 million.
Take a few dollars.
Yeah, and that's not your top elite quarterback we're talking about. He's no Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, listen, you want to teach your kids to be football players, that's your choice. But based off of what I've been seeing with Tony Romo, making 15 a year.
I'm trying to get like that right now.
Listen,
Tony Romo gets 17 a year being on the speak.
Listen, push your kids in commentating and being the director.
Yeah, being commissioner.
Being a commissioner.
Sports marketing and management, guys. Come on now, let's go.
The opportunity is there. So we have a very special opportunity here. It gives me great pleasure to introduce a champion on the phone right now.
That's right, champion.
A champion. Everybody get a ring. I mean, everyone get a ring, and we all know UB Day was celebrated January 31st.
That's right.
And that was to commemorate the UB's first bowl game win. Right? Against Charlotte in the Bahamas Bowl. And he was instrumental in that. This is his 2nd year as being the athletic director of our UB Bulls. And we can't wait to bring him on the air with you right now. Mr. Mark Allnut. Can you hear us, sir? Oh, it's doing great. I'm here in the booth with Coach Mookie.
Yes, sir.
Indeed, and since you brought that up, this question is a little bit off topic, but there's also a lot of revolutionary things happening in the collegiate sports world in Cali, right? And so players are now being able to get a piece of the pie as well. What do you think about that?
So, what's your take on with this? With that being said, and basically, a scholarship entails you signing over your likeliness, and the NCAA can pretty much do whatever they want with your face and your name and all that stuff, and then the athlete gets a scholarship at the end of the day. But it's kind of like a contract that you outperform, and you don't get that raise, so to speak. And then you got athletes, that get injured, and they don't move on, in their career. So what is in place as far as health care for these guys in hindsight with this change that's happening in California?
And I'm not going to play in a state where I can't take full advantage of who I am.
Right.
Speaking of how to handle those student athletes, how have you been able to handle the student athletes with this COVID epidemic that's taking place? Well, you know, I almost shed a tear when we brought that trophy you're referring to, Mr. Allnut, to our mayor, Mayor Byron Brown, in his office when we celebrated UB Football Day. And you had one of the seniors take the mic, and he said that, you know, I'm proud to play for the number on the back, the name on the back of my jersey, but I'm even prouder to play for the name on the front of my jersey, which is Buffalo. So, you know what, you could tell that they have a great commitment to this community, and they represent themselves, you know, as champions. They could be starting off as the champs,
right?
Right? I mean, you know, lot to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to.